obviously this is something we talk about all the time, is that being default aggressive is good for leaders. Yes, that is a true statement. Let's also remember that being aggressive means a lot more than just being loud, brash, and in your face, right? That is the stereotypical thing that we think of when we think of, oh, that guy's really aggressive. You think this guy's in your face, he's yelling, he's, pushing people over. That is not the type of aggressiveness that you need to be an effective leader. You don't need to be a loudmouth. You don't need to be brash. You don't need to get in people's faces. What being aggressive means is taking action. One of the definitions of being aggressive is forceful and sometimes overly assertive pursuit of one's aims. Sometimes overly assertive means sometimes that you have to go a little bit harder. And here's why that's important, because in combat, almost nothing will happen the way you want it to if you don't force it that way. And if you don't use force of will, then you're not going to get it done. You have to be aggressive and make things happen. Look, I'm not the type of person that likes to be a loudmouth, likes to shout, likes to yell. Cool, good. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be that way. What it means is you need to make things happen. That's what it means. And it can be, this is the good thing about being aggressive. Sure, there's certain parts of your nature that are aggressive, but it can also be trained. You can start to think with an aggressive mindset, which is, I am going to take action. I'm going to overcome obstacles. I'm going to push through roadblocks. I'm not going to take no for an answer. And those are things that you can train. And how do you train them? Look, when you hit an obstacle, you look at it, you shake your head and you go, cool, let's go. Let's figure this out. There's so often times where people, they get told no or they hit an obstacle and it's game over for them. They're just done. They're done training. They're over it. And your attitude, you have to go, okay. So here's the other thing that you got to be ready for. If you're a person that you lean towards being passive, you've got to start to lean towards being aggressive. And here's the thing that you got to remember. You're going to make mistakes, because when you're aggressive, you're taking more risk, and often you're taking more risk. Now, if you've played out the whole matrix of being passive versus being aggressive, I will tell you that being aggressive is the one that ends up on top. But there are scenarios where your aggressiveness ends up costing you a little bit. That absolutely happens. It happens in business, it happens in life, it happens on the battlefield. But overall, if your default mode is aggressive and it's not the right answer, you just use the other answer, right? Your default mode has to be aggressive. So if you're not sure if you should stay or you should go to the default, which is going to be aggressive, because 9 times out of 10, 7 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, that's going to be a better move than sitting on your ass and doing nothing. It's a million times easier to have to pull the reins in on someone, on an element, on a team, on a leader, on a person. It's a million times easier to go, all right, hey, come on back. Right. You're going too hard. Then going, hey, you need to get out there. It's easier to lead someone that you have to pull the reins on than you have to push. Yeah. We'd rather pull back than push forward. Those days when I'm tired or worn out or just basically sick of the grind, what do I do on those days? I go anyways. I get it done, even if I'm just going through the motions. I go through the motions. I don't really want to work out. I work out. I really don't want to hammer on a project. I hammer on the project. Don't really want to get up and get out of bed. I get up and get out of bed. Now, these could be signals that you need some time off. And those signals might be right. They could be correct. But don't take today off. Not today. Wait until tomorrow. Don't give in to the immediate gratification that is whispering in your ear. Do not listen to that little voice. Instead, go through the motions. Lift the weights. Sprint the hill. Work on the project. Get out of bed. As an overall rule, I do not like procrastination. You need to get things done. But if you are going to rest, that is one thing that you should procrastinate on. That's the one thing I want you to put off until tomorrow. And if, when tomorrow comes, you still feel like you need to rest or you need to take a break, then okay, take it. But the chances are you won't. You won't need that rest. Chances are you will realize that the desire to rest was just weakness. It was just the desire to take the path of least resistance, the downhill path, the easy path. And by simply going through the motions, you overcame that path. And you stayed on the righteous path, the disciplined path. You stayed on the war path, which is right where you know that you belong.